Hello and welcome back to Suspended Foundation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for an edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, I'd like to, make this more of a joyous occasion, but it's not, obviously. So, um, before I get into things, let me take care of some business, and then we'll get into this. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you're going to see a video at the very end of this. If you like what you see in the video, hit the subscribe button, please. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is to take a look over at suspendedfanimation.com, and my schedule is up there for the week. And also, I have all the links to my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. I also have links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So, yeah, last night we got the bad news. You know, the really horrible news that Chadwick Boseman had passed away at the age of 43 due to colon cancer, which he had been fighting for the last 4 years. And for those of you who don't know who Boseman is, he played Black Panther among other notable roles. But of course, in the Marvel universe, the MC universe, we know him as Black Panther. Um, really condolences to his family, his friends at this time. It's cancer just fucking sucks. That's all I can say. But yeah, um, I didn't want to start off on that, but it's honestly it's kind of too big to ignore, and I just kind of wanted to you know let everyone know and you know get through that. So on to some other news. Yeah. So Altered Carbon, after 2 seasons at Netflix, has been canceled as well. So yeah, more bad news. I know. Not as bad as the first one, but still bad news. And why, you're probably asking? It costs a lot of money and didn't have as many viewers as everyone thought it would. So, and of course, the viewership went down in the second season versus the first season. And the first season got some decent review. I mean, everything got good reviews, but it's a special effects heavy show. Um, and so yeah, that's yeah. Mork says Altered Carbon was expected. Season 1 was awesome. Season 2 wasn't as good. Yeah, I agree with you. And this goes back to my whole thing that I said when I reviewed Altered Carbon season 2. I don't think Anthony Mackie's a good leading man. He's a great actor, don't get me wrong. He's great in ensemble pieces, but to hold things together, he just wasn't doing it for me. And I know he wasn't doing it for a lot of people. And yeah, yeah. Joker says I didn't finish the second season yet. Oh man, that's kind of yeah. That's a telling point right there. But yeah, they're canceling it, which sucks. Hopefully, it'll live on in some other form. I know the books are out there and all of that, so uh, hopefully, we get something out of that. So, I was going to do a little bit of a DC fandom wrap up because I was initially I was going to do this during the week and I was just going to record like a video and put some stuff in. Quite honestly, I'm swamped with work at my real job, the one I actually get paid for, and I had no time whatsoever. I didn't have time to do my normal work, let alone putting together a video and editing and all that kind of stuff that it takes. So here you go. It's going to be here. So we got the Suicide Squad roll call, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and it was kind of interesting. There's a lot of freaking people that they have in this thing, and everyone keeps wondering who the fuck is Nathan Fillion playing, and they named him TDK is what it was called, which stands for the Detachable Kid, which is actually um kind of alluding to a character that is in DC Comics lore, but in the Legion of Superheroes in the 30th century, and that would be Arms Fall Off Boy is what his name is, and basically he uses his arm detaches, and he uses it to bludgeon people with, and that's who Nathan Fillion is supposed to be, kind of only in present day, is the detachable kid, and supposedly I guess his arms and his legs come off and can be used as weapons, which I thought was kind of funny. Philip A. Demick says Joel Kinnaman was a big part of what made Altered Carbon good. Looking forward to seeing him in Suicide. Yeah. So yeah, Joel Kinnaman is back again in Suicide Squad as Flag, and we'll see more of him. Also, of course, we got Sean Gunn, who's going to be playing the Weasel. Uh, we've got King Shark in there. I mean, we've got tons of people. Mongal, and they put out a little, what was it? A roll call kind of video that went out, and that was kind of funny. And then also they did a behind the scenes look of Suicide Squad, which I guess has been called like a 70s war movie, if you will, kind of along the lines of like, say, Dirty Dozen or something like that is where this is going to be at. And I think there is like a dozen villains in this thing. So yeah. Yeah, everyone liked Joel Kinnaman, Altered Carbon movie Fandome. That's what I was saying. It was uh, kind of a letdown with Anthony Mackie. I hate to say it, it was. I mean, Will Yen coming in, who plays the original version, the OG, I guess you could say, Takashi Kovac. I wanted more of him, quite honestly. I wish they had just gone with him instead of, you know, I understand they couldn't because of the storyline in season 2, going back to Altered Carbon there. But hey, what are you going to do? Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says King Shark only works with one voice for me now. Are you talking about Ron Funches? Yeah. Although I did watch Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and the King Shark is a shark was actually kind of funny. So it works in different iterations. We need to see what this King Shark, what he's going to sound like. Yeah. Don't watch the RoboCop remake, Philip A. Demick. I fell asleep during it multiple times. I kept waking up and I was like, oh yeah, it's back on again. I need to reach the remote. And I fell asleep as I was trying to reach the remote. Every single time I'd reach for the remote, I'd fall asleep, and then I'd start waking up again. Then I'd see the movie was still on. I'm like, oh my God, I need to reach the remote. And then I'd fall back asleep again. And then I woke up during the credits and everything was good. I was able to reach the remote. So yeah, don't do it. That's how bad that RoboCop remake was. Yeah. Watch our RoboCop remake instead. Much better. I haven't heard about that one. Well, no, Joel Kinnaman in he was all covered up for the most part, and that movie, the RoboCop remake, had no soul to it whatsoever. That's the reason why it crashed and burned. It didn't get the whole Frankenstein aspect of it. It instead wanted to just be like a shoot 'em up kind of cop war movie, if you will, and it didn't pan out on that either. It was really shitty. It was really, really shittily done. But enough said about that, the better. So we also got the Batman trailer. That's right, we got the Batman trailer, and I'm okay with it. I want to see more of this. I want to see what Battinson has going on. The whole thing with the "Who are you?" They do the whole classic, Batman, "Who are you?" And instead of going on Batman, which everyone's expecting, he's like, "I'm vengeance." And I was like, that fucking works. All right. Although setting up, I mean, if you saw the trailer already, you're setting up Riddler as the main bad guy at this point. We get this, and it actually takes some hints from Gotham County Line, which I was kind of surprised about, because Gotham County Line is a 2-issue comic that Steve Niles did, and it involves Batman and Deadman. But there is an actual detective story in there too, and it's a really good. It's probably one of the best Batman stories that's out there, and no one's really read it, except I guess for Matt Reeves and has incorporated some of that into this movie from what it looks like. And also, of course, Batman Year 2 is what he's incorporated into that. So, yeah. Stanley Twill says, looking forward to the Starship Troopers remake after Total Recall and RoboCop. Yeah. There is talk about that, Stanley, that Casper Van Dien is talking about trying to get Starship Troopers made as a series, as a TV series. And he's trying to get all the original cast to come back too for it. I guess he and Jake Busey are on board for it, is what he's saying. But I don't think anyone's bitten at the moment. Bork says, Riddler, interesting. I always saw Riddler as a secondary tier villain, and after Jim Carrey's performance, even lower. Yeah. No, this one they're actually making him more of like a serial killer with the riddles being clues to the next hit and all that stuff. And that's actually what's really good about it. And it makes Riddler scary for a change. So, what's on my t-shirt? That is Legion. Movie for Nobody is what that is. That is my Legion shirt that I got from Comic-Con a few years back. Yeah. So we also got well, I'm gonna take a little break from the CD fandom or DC fandom. CD. See what I did there? It's a little dyslexic. DC fandom news, and I'll work some other stuff in too. So the CW is developing a live action Powerpuff Girls series. And I've been thinking about this all week of like, how in the fuck can you do a live action Powerpuff Girls as a series? I mean, unless you're going to make them all teenagers and the sexy thing, and I mean, which is a CW hallmark kind of item. And then, of course, have really shitty CGI for it. But I'm thinking of the villains. I mean, you've got Mojo Jojo, who is a monkey with a giant brain. Him, which is essentially the devil in drag. Fuzzy Lumpkins, who, I'm just sitting here thinking about this, and my mind is not, what is it? Round peg into square hole, or round peg into triangle hole. It's not going. It's just like it keeps banging against the thing there, and yeah, I don't know. Powerpuff Girls equals CD fandom. Yes, it does. Standing in hallways talking about CGI. That's it. That's all it's going to be. They're going to talk about their feelings. Mojo Jojo could be played by Dennis Rodman. No. They'd have to find somebody taller to play. I'm sorry. That was no. And also, that's a bad joke, Marks. It really is. Yeah. I would rather they're gonna have to go CGI on that. And it's man, it's just CW and they do bad CG. And I don't know, man. I'm just lost on that one. So I'm just gonna go past it and go to Disney Plus is going to have an adult section finally on their streaming service that will house all the Fox material and the old Touchstone movies. Yeah, finally, it's about fucking time. Yeah. No, I'm not Apple Crow. It's just, us short people need to call out the other short people in the world. So, hey, that he played basketball as short as he was, it's good. So, of course, my favorite short basketball player is Sleepy Floyd. Look him up. He was on the Golden State Warriors for a while there. This one is just perplexing. I don't understand this one, but Fox is developing an animated X-Files comedy series. Unless they're doing it in the style of The Simpsons, I don't know if I want to see it. Yes, Fox is developing a animated X-Files comedy series. I I don't know. I mean, quite honestly, I thought if anything, they would have developed an X-Files porn series because that's kind of where it was leading to anyway. And I figured that's where the natural progression of that was. I didn't see it going into comedy. I saw it going more into porn, but maybe that's just me. Muifanobi says it's just when Powerpuff Girls and it's just why Powerpuff Girls in live action. It's cutesy and funny. It's animated form. So originally, so Gennady Tartakovsky, of course, who developed Powerpuff Girls, um, it had a little bit of an adult tinge to it initially, and they toned that down to be more kid friendly, and so it became a kids show. He does have that aspect of it, and I can see why it can transfer over into the CW world. But then again, I can't see why it can transfer into the CW world because of the CG and the money and all that stuff that it would take in order to do it. Yeah. Friends, Apple Crow have already told you about the X-Files porn. Yeah. Yeah. Um, X-Files doesn't need a comedy series. Mulder is already a maniac. Yeah, I know. It's I I just don't know. I mean, of course, it's one way of getting the actors back, the original actors back, so they can just do voice. And you won't have to see them totter through a really badly written Chris Carter episode or series ever again. I'm sorry, that last season was just crap. Just complete and utter crap. Yeah. Well, they could go grim dark with Powerpuff Girls and Ripomagia Matka. Okay. Yeah. It worked for Lower Decks. No, it didn't, Stanley Tweedle. Lower Decks is unwatchable. And it's not even really comedy. I watched that first episode and I was just sitting there this entire time. Like that. Oh man. To each their own. That you enjoy it, I'm glad somebody does. I'm not one of them. So HBO is making Michael Crichton's novel Sphere into a series with both Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan's production company and the Downeys, Robert Downey Jr. and his wife's production company, also on this as well. And I was thinking about it. And I'm like, how do you make Sphere into a series? And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, you can make the entire first book into a series, but then what do you do after that? There's no other book after that. There's no other, reference point. Do you keep going into a second season? Is it a one-off season? How are you going to do this? And yeah, I'm I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. They use their powers for good, or do they? Yeah, the movie really sucked. The movie with Sharon Stone and Dustin Hoffman. Good God, that movie was bad. I agree with you, movie Fanobi. Again, there's a lot of movies out there. The Cure for Insomnia, RoboCop remake being one of them, and of course Sphere being another one. Yeah. Mork says, although agree with Stan, the last best Star Trek was yeah, I'll agree with that too. Marks is that yes, the last best Star Trek was Enterprise, except for the final episode. The final episode fucked everything over, and that was because it got taken away from them. Yeah, the hater was meant for me only. Thanks, Stanley. I love you too. And by the way, Stanley, you'll be happy to know I suffered through all of Agents of Shield. I made it through the final season, and I'm just glad it's over. I'm sure a lot of other people are as well, including ABC. Um, Netflix is also doing a live action series for Resident Evil. I don't know why, but sure. And I guess it's focusing on the Wexler siblings, the young Wexler siblings that moved to New Raccoon City. And I don't know. I'm like, sure, why not? Philip A. Temick says I watched Trek review of Lower Decks and last night, and I can watch it that way as long as I'm okay. Yeah. Um. So yeah, uh, I have no idea why they are doing another Resident Evil and a live action one at that, but it's Netflix. They have money that they're just kind of throwing out there for series at this point. Um, hey Stanley, here's something for you. September 24th. I know you've already seen this, but CBS is going to air the first season of Star Trek Discovery in the 10 to 11 p.m. time slot. So yes, they're going to air this on for free on the network itself. So I don't know why. I don't know how they're going to show Klingon tits in the on what is it network TV. Maybe they're going to blur them out, or what are they going to do with the swearing? Are they going to allow the swearing in there too? Because as far as I remember, I don't think they can say any kind of bad words on network TV. I mean, I don't think Fox says bitch. I can't remember what else. They don't say shit. They say ass because shit is left for FX, and they don't say fuck. Of course, they leave that for cable. Stanley says that will not help. That one is horrible. Like any of the rest of them are any good, Stanley? Come on. Sorry, I don't mean to be picking on you, Stanley, but you are the one that likes this stuff. So out of everyone in the chat, you really are the only person who likes this stuff. And I'm sorry that we're not dogpiling on you. We really aren't. Apple Crow says, hello, my name is Original Content. You haven't heard from me in a long while. Exactly. Yeah. Well, yes, you can bleep it out, Apple Crow, or you could dub it over. My favorite dub to this day, and it's still, I mean, is Galaxy Quest, where Gwen, when they're going through the chompers and she sees the chompers and she's like, oh, who in the fuck wrote, who wrote this? And they go, well, we have to go through the chompers in order to stop the self-destruct. And she goes, well, fuck that. And originally she says, fuck that. But they dubbed it over and said, screw that instead. And they left in, you can see her clearly say fuck. And it's one of the funniest dubs, over. And Dean Parsat, the guy who directed it, said, yeah, he decided to leave it in because it was that funny. He, of course, by the way, directed Bill and Ted 3, Bill and Ted Face the Music as well. So, which, by the way, I just did, and is it worth my time last night about that one? Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says only Lower Decks is passable. The rest of New Trek is horrible. Philip Ademic tonight on Ancient Mysteries will be exploring what happened to original content. Yes. Can you take over for me again? You guys tag teaming out? Is that what it is? I'm really not. I'm not the one who sets my. You're setting me up for this. Unfortunately, Stanley. It's yeah. I'll refrain from making any more Trek or Agents of Shield references. How about that? So going back to DC fandom here for a little bit. Shazam 2, their panel was really fucking boring because they couldn't say anything other than the title. The only thing they were able to give out was that Shazam 2 is going to be called Fury of the Gods. And it's like, okay, that's great. Thanks. All right. That's awesome. Um, thanks for playing along. It might have a DC cameo, another cameo or something like that. I mean, granted, we had the bottom half from the neck down of Superman in the end credit scene of the first Shazam. But who knows? Yeah. Movie Fanobi says, aren't they doing Pike? Yeah, they're doing another series. Movie Fanobi. It's another Star Trek. Beat this horse to death is what the new series is called. And yes, it's going to have Christopher Pike in it in the Enterprise. Yeah. Apple Crow says, has there been any news about Guardians of the Galaxy 3? No, because Gunn right now is dealing with Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad reboot. I don't know what it's called. It's just called Suicide Squad. And he's still doing all the press junkets for that. He is still editing that. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think he's written a script for it that the MCU likes, but he's not going back to that anytime soon. Probably not until the middle of next year, if anything. Yeah. Mufinobi says, Dennis, anything anything known about the New Mutants video on demand after theater revenue fails? So the theater revenues right now, Mufinobi, last I heard was on Thursday, because it opened up in drive-ins. They were talking about just drive-in theaters alone. It generated $750,000 on Thursday alone, which would have been if you and I was reading this out of an article, by the way, if you extrapolate it out into theaters, what it would have been like if there had been no pandemic, you're looking at anywhere from $12 to $15 million for an opening weekend is what you're looking at, and which isn't good on a movie of that size. And Forbes, there's actually a really good Forbes article out there, review of it, that said call it the worst X-Men movie ever. And yeah, I guess Maisie Williams hit back on Twitter about that and saying, that sounds awesome. Must buy tickets now. Something to that effect. And yeah, it was kind of funny. So extrapolation, yes, I did say that. Hey man, what do you want? It's morning for me still. I can't really say words and stuff all that well. Me fail English, that impossible. What is that? Stanley Tweedle says, I heard New Mutants and Tenet were shown to critics at least. So where do we get the VOD? There's no VOD yet. There's not going to be a VOD. For a while, anyway. They're still intent on releasing the shit in theaters. They still want people to risk their lives going to theaters instead of just releasing on. At least do what Orion did and MGM did with Bill and Ted Face the Music, is they released it both in theaters and they released it on VOD at the same time. So you had the option of either or. And I took the VOD option because shit, you know what? If people are going to buy it anyway, yes, I know it's going to be eating into your other costs, your DVD sales and stuff like that, as well as your theater, sales and all that stuff. But still, yeah, I'm not going to a theater for at least 2 years, quite honestly, because we're not going to have a viable. You're not going to have a viable vaccine. Even if you do have one, it's going to be on a limited quantity basis for at least a year. And, they're saying by the end of this year, maybe the beginning of next year, you're going to have a vaccine. So you figure another year on top of that. And then you're going to have a lot of holdouts and some idiots because, you have idiots that are, of course, anti-vaxxers. Those are the people who are not wearing their masks and shit like that. They're not going to take it. So we're going to have another round of that shit going on. So you're looking at least 2 years, 2.5 years, somewhere around there. And I am not going anywhere near a theater at that point. Too many asshats. Mofinobi says, think of the bank with simultaneous VOD of New Mutants, even if it's exactly. If you had done VOD to begin with instead of being greedy for the theater stuff, people would have bought it sight unseen because as Raymond K. Hessel, one of the viewers here, had stated in my comment section for Bill and Ted's Face the Music, while he didn't like Bill and Ted Face the Music, he was so hungry for new content that he didn't mind paying for it. And that's the whole thing, is if you basically put a $25 price tag on it, put it out there and give people the option of buying this on video on demand, people are so hungry for new content at this point, they will buy it because they're sitting at home, they're saving money. People are, well, those that still have jobs that are working from home and stuff like that are saving money. They are going to spend it on stuff like this because they're looking for new content. Yeah. Mark says we couldn't see toilet paper for months, and that is readily available. Don't expect it to be on the list for a vaccine anytime soon. Exactly. Yeah. Mufino says, come Sunday, let's see the money totals between Bill and Ted and New Mutants. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can already guarantee you that Bill and Ted's going to be making more money on their VOD than they are on theater sales, ticket sales, because they had that option. And a lot of people took the pre-order as it was because we're just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not going to go to the theater. Yeah. Apple Crow says, I'm going to go post on my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter how I'll never let the government tag me with chip and trace me. Yeah. Meanwhile, in Sanity Land, I'm hopeful for a vaccine and I'm more worried about the distribution. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Apple Crow. Yeah. Yeah. And also the viability of the vaccine, if it's going to work or not. I mean, okay, I'm going to step off into scientific land for a moment. We're now starting to get reports about people that are getting reinfected, even though they've already been infected with COVID-19 before. And we're starting to have it happen here in the United States now. We had the first, um, I guess, documented case of a man who had it back in April and then got it again just a couple of weeks ago. So, yes, it's I really don't see the efficacy of a vaccine happening that is going to cover it and still remain viable in people without you getting it again. It's here to stay, is really what it is at this point. Yeah. And with that said, I go back to the news. All right. That was a little break there for you. So the Black Adam movie, again, I really did not like some of how they presented DC Fandome. At least it was live first. Oh no, not really, not even live. Really, it was kind of lame. Really, is what it was. It was another Comic Con at home, and then also even more so tainted because of the whole layoff thing that they had with over 800 employees laid off across DC stuff. And then, of course, being happy-go-lucky, like, hey, come buy our product still. Yeah, didn't work for me. But anyway, the Black Adam movie, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. The only thing that I got out of it was that we're going to have some JSA characters in this. We're going to have Hawkman, Cyclone, Dr. Fate, and Atom Smasher in it. And I'm like, all right. I'm actually more excited about seeing a live action Dr. Fate in a movie than I am seeing Black Adam, to tell you the truth. They couldn't get Hawk Girl into the movie. Originally, it was in the original script, but I guess they had some kind of legal issues or something like that, or copyright issues or whatnot, and probably amongst themselves. And so they replaced her with Cyclone. But that's, yeah, kind of lame. So Dante S says a buddy of mine lives in New York. He said he had it twice. Not sure if he was tested. Yeah, a lot of people say they had it and don't have the testing data to back that up, or they said, oh, they suspected that they had. So when I had my pneumonia my flu back in February. Everyone's like, "Oh, you probably had it. You probably had it." I got the antibody test done. I didn't have it. I've since, of course, gotten the COVID testing too. Of course, comes back negative, which is really fun, by the way, when they jam that thing up both nostrils. It's not just one, but two. Um, and where I was getting tested at, they were trying out a new thing where they were just going on the inside, just on the inside of the nose, and seeing if they could do the same thing there. I was a guinea pig for a new testing section. Yes, I got both nostrils done at the same time in a drive-through. And I apologize out there. The girl that was, helping me out, the woman that was helping me out, she was all gowned up, and I started coughing like a madman because, of course, it just goes right up into your nose. And yeah, I think I coughed all over her. Yeah. So, Mork says I'm not excited about The Rock as Black Adam. Yeah, I'm not really either. I mean, at this point, they've been talking about it for so long that I just really don't care about it. Viking bitch says, so we need to rely on people doing the right thing to stay safe and not getting sick. We're doomed. I know. That's exactly it. Yeah, I know Dante asked that New York City was hit hard with this. Yeah. Philip Demick says, I'm looking forward to the animated All-Star Squadron in World War II. Oh, I didn't know they were doing that. That's actually kind of cool. Yeah, so the Blackhawk Squadron is what it was called so there's a comic that Howard Chaykin, who, by the way, is a horrible fucking person. But this is back in the 80s before we knew how bad of a person he actually was. He wrote a great Blackhawk series. That was a comic series for a while. And I remember reading it. I don't remember the contents of it, but I remember reading it. That would have made a great story for an animated show. But yeah, there we go. Why can't all these gamer celebrities make a good D&D movie? Because they don't have any money. I take that back. They do have money. They just don't care. So we got the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer. The trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League, I should say. The remix or his vision of Justice League, how he intended it to be. And it starts off with a really bad CGI dark side. Yeah, I'm just glad it's coming out on HBO Max, and I don't want to spend any more money on it, quite honestly. I can't bring myself to go back and watch Joss Whedon's version either. It's just a horrible, horrible universe that was set up to begin with, and needs to be wiped from existence and start over again. That's all that needs to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Less said about it, the better. Titans season 3, which is now on HBO Max, I believe is what it's going to be on, because of course DC Universe is going away and is not going to have any live content anymore. So they did talk about Titans season 3 and how it's moving to Gotham City now. So they're taking the team back to Gotham City, which is kind of stupid because originally you're supposed to have this team be set apart from the adult heroes, so that they can do their own thing. That was the reason why they picked a fictional city that you didn't know where it was, other than you knew that it was sunny and had access to water and wasn't nearby Gotham. So they're moving season 3 to Gotham City. They're bringing in Commissioner Barbara Gordon, because this is after, I guess, Jim Gordon either is dead or retired. They're bringing in Jonathan Crane, who, of course, is the Scarecrow. And remember, we saw Jason Todd at the end of season 2. He left, drove off on his motorcycle. He is going to return as the villain of the season as Red Hood. I don't understand any of this. Hopefully, Akiva Goldsman's been kicked out of the writer's room, because he is the worst fucking person on the planet to write for this, to write anything, quite honestly. And Yeah, I saw the guy who during the stream that they had, who is, I guess, the showrunner now, and it's not Akiva Goldsman, so fingers crossed. It might be a little bit better, but I'm not putting any stock into it. Yeah. They had better make Doom Patrol and Harley Quinn season threes. Yeah, they should. I'm hoping they do as well. My Fandome. Yeah. Worse than Kurtzman? Oh, way worse than Kurtzman Apple Crow. You can actually tell. Akiva Goldsman is one of the writers. If I remember correctly, he was on Showgirls, the movie Showgirls. Yes. So there you go. That's how bad of a person he is. Um, his dialogue in season one that he wrote, you can tell when he writes things because you can tell exactly what the character is going to say, and you say the line before the character does. Yeah. I know Joel Esterhaus is the one that wrote the script, but I remember Akiva Goldsman, I think, came in and did some cleanup work on it too. Oh, I'm sorry. That just still makes me laugh. Yeah. Yes, he did Lost in Space and Batman 3 and 4 as well. Hmm. Yeah. Ah. You felt naked at work, Viking bitch, yesterday? I've done that before myself. Forgot my pants, it happens. You ran out of the house, because you're late and you forget things. So, also announced at this DC fandom is Warner Brothers is supposedly working on a live action Static Shock movie. And I started thinking, I'm like, live action Static Shock movie, huh? Who could you get to play live action Static Shock? And everyone said initially John Boyega. And he already says, no, I'm too old to play, Static and all this stuff. And it's like, well, you don't necessarily need to make Static Shock a teenager. You don't need to make it an origin story. You can go straight into him being a hero and basically in the first 5 or 10 minutes say how he came about and then go into him being the hero already. You don't need to do an origin story. So you can actually make him an adult. And I don't know if I want to see John Boyega being Static. Um, Denzel Washington's kid, man, he's a great actor. I don't know if he would do a superhero movie because he looks like he's more on the Oscar track, is what he wants to do. But I would love to see him. And I'm trying to think of who else would actually play a good Static Shock. They're probably going to get something like Jaden Smith or something like that and fuck it all up, which I really don't want them to do that. But yeah. Yeah. Um, what was that? Oh, you guys talk about masks and all that stuff. We call them face coverings now, but we've had the funniest discussions at work because the overlords above us, at work, they keep going back and forth over face coverings, masks, face coverings, masks, face coverings, masks, what to call it. And they are literally talking about changing signage, which has already been printed out before, again. And it's like, aren't we in a budget, crisis at the moment? And you're going to spend a couple of $1,000s to reprint out all these signs all over again? Don't do it. I really hope that Jaden Smith is not attached to this shit, man, because I really don't want to see. I will not watch it if he's attached to it. Well, I don't watch anything that he's attached to because he just sucks. He is a horrible, horrible fucking actor. And the only reason why he gets work is because of his dad and his mom. Yeah. Mm-mm. And speaking of which, and I related on a kind of a tangent because I was thinking of another horrible movie that he did, The Karate Kid, which is actually should have been The Kung Fu Kid. The only reason why I mentioned that is because Ralph Macchio, there was a interview with him where he said that the movie that Jaden Smith did with Jackie Chan should have been called The Kung Fu Kid, and I agree with him completely. Um, Cobra Kai seasons 1 and 2 are on Netflix right now. They just got released yesterday, by the way, because Cobra Kai season 3 is gonna come out on Netflix in 2021. It's already in the can. They're just waiting until 2021 to release it. So they've released season 1 and season 2 already on Netflix. Again, if you haven't seen them, go and watch them. They're actually really, really damn good. It's a good story. It's very well done. And I can't wait for season 3. I thought I hadn't finished up season 2, but then I went back and I was looking at it yesterday. I'm like, oh yeah, I have done it. So yeah. So it's definitely worth it. Apple Crow says, Dennis, is anyone at on the board related to someone who owns a sign making business? No, we have our own in-house sign making shop, Apple Crow. It's UC. So I mean, I'm not giving anything away at that point. So they yeah, they're basically just making money off themselves, is all they're doing. It still costs money though. Yeah. What else have we got going on here? So we also had the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer that was released. And yeah, okay. So we got to see what Cheetah looks like finally. I almost said Chitara, but it's Cheetah. And Kristen Wiig's Cheetah. And they finally started releasing the toys because that was the whole thing. The publications, the solicitation for toys, whenever they are selling these, because they sell them months ahead of time, if they don't want to release what a character looks like, they black them out. So you see the outline of the character, but you don't see the actual character, what they look like. So people are buying these things blind, essentially. So now that they've actually got the trailer out there that has Cheetah, what she looks like, we're starting to see what Cheetah looks like in toy design now. This is the way things work in the real world. Sorry. But yeah, they finally have done that, and it's okay. I need to see a still picture of what she looks like. But because initially the first picture that I saw didn't look great. It looks better now, but I can't really tell for sure. I just need something a little bit more to work with than this. The trailer was okay. I mean, I'll see it. I'm not going to go to a theater and see it, but I'll see it eventually. Yeah. Yeah. The show got in trouble, child labor laws also. For which show? What was that? Oh, biohackers. For biohackers. Mm-hmm. Maybe Fandome says we've already seen Wonder Woman footage. It's just Cheetah, uh, very CG and slow mo fight. Yeah, yeah. Oh, the get down is what you guys are talking about. Okay. I like the Chitara option better. Yeah. Hey, Sister Spike, how's it going? Sister Spike says I thought the CGI for Cheetah looked very rough. Yeah, so I wasn't the only one, right? Okay, so I'm glad because I was just like, yeah, all right. Maybe they just need to run it through the rendering process a couple of thousand more times. They have enough time to do it. They've pushed it back to 2021. So it's not like they don't have enough time to redo the movie or redo special effects or anything like that. So the last two things I have for you are video games that are coming out. And I actually kind of like the way both of them look. Um, Although I do have an issue with one of them. So Gotham Knights is a game that is coming out where you can play what is it? Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and Red Robin, I believe is what it is, or the Red Hood, which is basically one of the Robins. It's Jason Todd. And essentially Batman is dead in the game, is what this is. And Gotham City, of course, is going fucking nuts. And these four heroes, of course, that are all part of the Bat family end up having to go on missions, of course, to stop shit that's going on around Gotham. And you actually get to play you play two characters at the same not at the same time. So you're usually one character fighting whatever it is, then they switch you over to the other character who's on the other side who's also helping you, and you work in order to take down a bad guy. Or of course you can play two players and have both of your characters doing whatever that is. Yeah. It looked pretty good. The gameplay looked actually really nice. The backgrounds were actually nicely rendered and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I was okay with it. It looked really really good, and I'm looking forward to it when it comes out. The other one that came out, or the trailer for it that came out, is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And this movie, or excuse me, this game doesn't come out until 2021, but it's brought to us by the guys who did Rocksteady, or from the, excuse me, the studio Rocksteady video games, who did, of course, the Batman Arkham series, which is awesome. Just completely awesome series. This one, of course, the contention that I had with the trailer was we have it's a mind controlled Justice League at this point. We know that they're mind controlled. They have Superman actually kill a civilian in the trailer, just completely incinerates him to ash. And again, I go back to the whole thing, you do not have Superman kill. And that's what the thing that pisses me off with the Snyder murderverse, and why it was such a bone of contention with a lot of us comic fans, is we knew this was going to come, is that once you start having your main heroes kill in movies and TV shows and whatever, it's going to kind of start trickling out, and you're going to start having um, these kind of things pop out in video games and comics, and it's just going to get worse and worse. It's okay if you have an Elseworlds character where you're doing like Red Sun, where he kills somebody and stuff like that, because that is an alternate universe. That's what you're having it as. You don't do the main universe as uh, an evil Superman. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's called, Sister Spike. I'm not the one who made it up. It's called the Snyder Murderverse, is what it's called, because all his, all his heroes kill people. Superman kills, Batman kills. I'm sure Flash has killed somebody. He's probably run through somebody or something like that. I'm sure Cyborg has killed some people. Um, Wonder Woman most likely is killed at this point. So yeah, yeah. And I'm sure in the Snyder Murderverse that Batman uses a gun or two. I mean, he's got him outfitted in all his vehicles. He's got guns loaded on there. So sure, why not? So yeah, well, the gameplay looks really, really good, and you get to play King Shark. By the way, I've always wanted to do a playable King Shark on one of these video games, so that actually is really fucking cool. Again, it's cooperative play. You're switching. You can actually switch between characters, so you can be fighting somebody, and you're like, nope, Harley Quinn's not working all that well. Switch over to King Shark, and you switch over to King Shark in mid jump, and out he comes, and then you can start killing people or doing what King Shark is a shark, so of course he does sharky things. Oh man. So yeah, I'm okay with that. It looks like a good game. But again, 2022 on that one. So we got a little while. Everyone should have their PS5 by then, and whatnot. I'm not buying any video games now until the PS5 comes out, because I know I'm going to be getting a PS5, because my PS4 is on its last legs. I can hear it when it whirs up. And it sounds like an airplane taking off, like a sick airplane, and yeah, sounds like the fans wobbling, all that kind of stuff. The dog runs, goes and hides under the bed, all that kind of shit. So No, she doesn't really. She just kind of looks up and goes, "What the fuck is that?" And then puts her head back down. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Sister Spike says, I don't do video games, but I like watching others play. Yeah. Philip A. Demick says, I'm bummed that Chadwick Boseman was working on What If episode. Yeah. That really sucks, man. I mean, yeah, it also brings, to mind, I'm like, is Marvel going to recast him? Of course they're probably going to recast him as Black Panther. And think of the person who actually has to fill those shoes at that point. So I don't know. Yeah. It's a sad, sad thing. And like I said, I mean that he was going through this for 4 years and no one knew about it. They kept a really tight secret on this thing. And the suffering and the pain that he must have been going through when he was filming things, and yeah, just amazing. I mean, in the last couple of months, yes, there was some kind of alarm raised because they saw how skinny he was looking, and yeah, it just, yeah. Yeah, exactly, Joker, exactly. Some people thought it was up, and then of course there was a movie that was released that he had done, and they're like, "Oh, he did it because of a movie," and it's like, no, he didn't do it because of a movie. He was actually really sick. So yeah, excuse me. So yeah, a lot of us don't know how he did it. Viking bitch, yeah. But there is no Dana, only 2020. Thanks. Yeah. Joker says, right method acting, like Bale for The Machinist. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I am a console peasant as well. I it honestly took me a long time in order to buy a PS4. It really did. And then I bought a used one. And so yeah, you get what you pay for. It's lasted me a good couple of years. So it's over 5 years old now, I think. So it should be all right. So what else is going on this week? Tomorrow is another episode of Lovecraft Country, season 3 of, or excuse me, episode 3 of season 1 of Lovecraft Country is happening tomorrow. Monday I'm off. Tuesday is another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet, but I will put it on the schedule once I figure it out. Yeah, I'm kind of bandying about a couple of things right now. Wednesday I'm off. Thursday, of course, is another episode of Is It Worth My Time? Friday I'm off, and then we come back around again to Saturday morning blast off on Saturday. There you go. Take a look at the schedule on suspendedfanimation.com. It's up there. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. That's why you should go to suspendedfanimation.com and like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes all the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match them as best as possible in the videos of my vast video library, and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit the subscribe button down there. Yeah. I don't know about that. Philip A. Demick having Michael B. Jordan come in and playing T'Challa wearing Killmonger's face. I don't, no. Dennis selling some micro machines. No, I'm not. Yeah. All right, everybody. Yes, I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a good rest of your weekend. I will see you tomorrow for Lovecraft Country. Yeah, the dog's looking at me and she's saying, "What the hell are you doing still?" I'm gonna let you guys go for the night or for the day. See you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. And until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, You may find out that you need a new gaming console with all the new games that are coming out in the next couple of years. Thanks, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, have a good rest of your day. Be safe, be well, and take care. Thanks, everybody.